my friends, and welcome back to the rabbit hole. Today's video is one that I kind of started promising 3 weeks ago. I was living at my old place when I initially posted about this product on Instagram. Today I am reviewing the First Aid Beauty Ultra Repair Hyaluronic Hydrating Primer, and let me tell you why this video is so hard for me to film. I adore this product. I know that sounds funny, that it would be difficult to talk about a product that I love, but truth be told, I think it's harder to make a well-rounded review when you absolutely love a product than when you're neutral about a product, or even if you hate a product. Because I gotta really figure out, what is it that's making me love this product, because it's makeup. Makeup is just never one size fits all. I may absolutely love this and think this could be my new holy grail, but other people might buy it and say, it doesn't really work for me. So I'm going to try my hardest in this video to kind of not just review this product, but tell you, who I think it's for and who I think it's not for, potential pros and cons, all of that. So I think before we get into this, let me real quickly say, when it comes to primer, I am a huge fan from the start. I think this has to do with the skin type that I have. I have very dry skin, but it is acne prone. And I think, I need this barrier between my skin and the foundation that I put on, or my foundation goes on and looks worse than me not wearing foundation. And to give you a little bit more context, I love oil-based primers. And honestly, out of all these, my favorite's still the Flower Supernova. But there is one drawback with all of these, and that's you will never have your foundation look anything but dewy. You're putting oil on, it's gonna be a dewy look. After I did that whole primer video, I came to the realization that Bobbi Brown's Vitamin Enriched Face Base is a truly phenomenal product. My problem with it is it's really expensive. I still have not managed to find it at a reasonable price, in my opinion. And this led to me finding this product on the Ulta website. This is a new release. I'm not sure when it released, but I saw this, clicked it because you know what? I love First Aid Beauty. I really do. They're a great brand for sensitive skin, and they're not overpriced. So I clicked it, started reading the ingredients, and added it to my cart, and it has just been a true lovely relationship ever since. Here's some huge pros with this product, just before we even get into applying it. This is 1.7 ounces of primer for $28, considering that even drugstore primers these days are up to $17.99 for 1 ounce. This is a very affordable primer. My plan for this video is to apply this and kind of talk about the mini wear test that I've done with it. So its texture is a lotion, kind of a lightweight lotion, and that does make it different from Bobbi Brown's Face Base. Face Base is a lot thicker because it is a shea butter based product. Okay, let me show you guys applying it, because it does go on a little white, but then once you buff it into the skin, it's no longer white. You guys see all this redness on my skin? I think it's because I went back to using a Clarisonic. I don't think a Clarisonic gets along with my skin that well. Okay, so I'm just gonna continue buffing this into my skin and putting this all over my face, which I actually rarely do. I typically use more than one primer, but this has kind of been an all-in-one for me, which I think is a huge reason why I'm loving it. One thing about the oil-based primers is I don't really use them too heavily around my eye area because I've had oils end up in my eyes, so I wouldn't take them as close as I'm taking this. And then my problem area, my forehead. So this is the main reason that I bought this product right here. Because this product contains hyaluronic acid, and because it is a lotion texture, what it's gonna do is plump out any fine lines. And there's nothing I hate more than putting foundation on and just seeing your fine lines magnified. It's so frustrating. But I've talked about this before. There are potential cons with using hyaluronic acid, especially if you are in a dry climate, because the way the hyaluronic acid molecule works is that it picks up any water around it and plumps up. It needs water in order to do that, and it will seek it out. So if you're in a dry climate, it's gonna pull that water out of your own skin and do the exact opposite of what you want it to do. But here in my super humid climate, there's plenty of water for hyaluronic acid to continue working. All right, so now I have the primer applied. I feel like you can probably already see that it plumps out my lines. It does this so stinking quickly. Now, I did do several wear tests with this. I even wore it side by side against the Bobbi Brown face base. I was so pleased with how this wore. Just fantastic. I'll pop up one of the, I think that's the 12-hour wear test. On my skin, I basically had a reduction of fine lines that lasted me the entire day, which I'm very much a fan of. By the way, I'm currently trying out the Complexion Rescue Hydrating Foundation Stick for my foundation. I decided to get this after seeing it in my friend Personal Beauty Lab's video. Make sure you check her channel out if you haven't already. She does such great reviews. And one thing I really like about Bareminerals is that I know my shade, so this is 03. It's such a good match on me. So in this video, I do want to talk a little more about what the ingredients are in this primer that drew me to purchasing it in the first place. So not only does this have hyaluronic acid, it also has a lot of humectant, aloe, colloidal oatmeal, licorice, a bunch of ingredients that are going to be good for sensitive skin and also give you a bunch of antioxidants, just a lot of skin benefits in this. It has a lot of plant ingredients as well, but none of them are the kind where I kind of have to be careful. You know, citrus oils, for example, might not work out that well on all skin types. And because the primer has a lot of plant-based ingredients, it does have kind of a fruity smell. It doesn't have any added fragrance to it. Fragrance. So you can definitely smell that it does have quite a lot of natural ingredients. I feel like you don't necessarily need to watch me do the rest of my face, so I'm going to finish up and then come back to you guys with some final thoughts on the primer. My final thoughts on this product. I think that if you have dry skin and you like the more lotion type of primer, for example, the Too Faced Hangover Primer, I think you will like this. I think if you have sensitive skin, you will like this. It has very soothing ingredients to it. I think if you have oily skin, this may not be the best primer for you. It's really hard for me to judge wear time. It's actually the one thing that I don't ever feel confident talking about on my channel. I'm just not that good of a judge because my skin is very dry. If something doesn't last on me, it's a problem, but 99% of the time, makeup does last on my skin. Now, I've been wearing this for 3 weeks at this point, so I definitely feel confident saying that I've not seen any correlation in breakouts with this, only with the Clarisonic. I do think the price is great. I know this is not a drugstore product, but to me, it might as well be because it really isn't much more than the drugstore, objectively speaking. Still better if you can find it on a sale, and it's still harder to get a sale on non-drugstore, but we should be getting that 20% off coupon from Ulta soon. So then finally, who I think this is ultimately for is people who are bothered by the sight of fine lines, especially if they're not very deep. I think that's important to say, just kind of, superficial fine lines where you're just kind of like, why are you there? Nobody invited you, fine lines. A product with hyaluronic acid that is formulated well should smooth that out pretty easily, which also means if you're a fan of Bobbi Brown's face base, while I don't think this is a direct dupe, it is very close, and in terms of results, I do kind of think it's a dupe, if that makes sense. Dupes are hard to talk about, especially, we've talked about this before, how when you get into skincare, it may have a completely different texture but do the same thing. That's kind of what I pick up with this product compared to face base. So really the only drawbacks with this, I think potentially the scent. I think not everybody's going to love the very fruity scent that it has. And also the fact that you do need to buff this in because it is a thicker texture. Those are really my two cons that I can come up with. But otherwise, I think it's one of the best primers in its category that I've ever tried. Now granted, I liked the original First Aid Beauty primer, so it's not really a surprise that I think this newest, latest and greatest really is the latest and greatest. So hopefully that covers everything. If I missed anything, feel free to ask a question. I try my hardest to answer as quickly as possible. But overall, I gotta tell you guys, I absolutely adore this. Oh, and also, I don't think you have to be limited to using this as a primer. I do think you can just use this on its own, and I have many days. I think it's a great moisturizer as well. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a like, hit subscribe, and I will see you guys next time.